Good morning and welcome to the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners, our budget information session for May the 9th, 2019. And first up, we have Feather Sound Community Services District, Ann Pollock. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Welcome.
Good morning. I'm Ann Pollock. I'm the treasurer of the Feather Sound Community Services District, greatest neighborhood in Pinellas County.
Start.
We're so to give you a little information about what we do, we collect money to be used for street lighting and to maintain and acquire and design the recreational areas and the green space in Feather Sound. This is our organization chart. Our chair, Suzanne Hebert, she's also here with us today.
Good morning.
We lease approximately 300 light poles and fixtures from Duke Energy, and we pay for the power for the neighborhood. We also maintain the green space areas. We mulch and design and update those areas, make them look nice. And also the park that's in there, the playground, Earl Mays Recreation Area, basketball court, picnic shelters, a really nice place for the families of Feather Sound to go to. This is our net cash flow spreadsheet. We are currently asking for $280,000 for this year from our the money that has come in from the millage. Last year we asked for an increase in the millage. Thank you very much for agreeing to that. That has been very helpful. We did a renovation to our boardwalk this year, and we are finishing that up. We plan to do a new front sign, the where it says Feather Sound. We're going to update that. That hasn't changed in decades, so we're going to do that. And then we're also planning to create a dog park in the neighborhood for all the families with dogs. And one thing that we're looking at for the future is to switch our streetlights to LED. And that's a very expensive process, which we're looking into now. So it may take time, but we're trying to allocate money in our budget so that over time we can make the change to the lights. So again, no millage increase. We would like funding of $280,000. That goes towards our maintenance and the dog park and any other additional things that we're doing, including what may include remulching of our playground, which is very expensive and has to happen pretty regularly. So that's it. If you have any questions.
Great presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Brief to the point and no millage increase.
Yes, absolutely.
Does anybody have any questions? Commissioner Welch.
Just one of the numbers that jumps off is down in, this is FY20, is it? You're going down to $4,000 in your reserve ending balance? Is that?
Yes, and the idea is part of what is a little in the air is our dog park and how well that works out in terms of finding the right location to do that. So that gives us a little flexibility. But the thought is that we are sort of finishing up some of these big projects, and it will use up a lot of the money. But then we will start building up going forward.
After that.
And doing smaller projects like the mulching and the street lights, rather than these bigger projects, at least for the next few years, and then we can have some more maybe big projects that the neighborhood needs.
But y'all are comfortable that gives you enough wiggle room, or am I missing a piece of the picture?
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
Okay.
Lori Sullivan with the
Hi.
Office of Management and Budget. That is the reserve held at Feather Sound.
Okay.
There's also reserve held with the county,
Okay.
and there's about 90,000 held there.
Feel much better.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There was how much did you say?
90.
90.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Nice to see you all.
Next on the agenda is our property appraiser, Mike Twitty. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
And I appreciate you all accommodating me a week early. I'll be in D.C. With the Appraisal Institute and also trying to get some answers on flood insurance. So And I'll address that a little bit in this presentation.
And then will you come, Madam Chair?
Yes.
And then will you come back and share with us what you learned
Of
about the
course.
flood? That'd be
Absolutely.
very helpful. Thank you.
So you can see here our request is under target by about 33,000 for this year. And the bulk of our change from last year is in obviously personnel services, which I'm sure is no surprise to anyone, and that is pretty much in line with the general increase. We do have a little more in operating expenses this year, and that number has always oscillated up and down a little bit with projects. But this year, and I'll touch on it later in the presentation, we've been undertaking a 3D pilot with our condominiums. So I'll share some of that information, and that's part of the planning for the phase 2 of that pilot. Any questions on the budget as it stands? Just to give you some perspective on our FTE count within our organization, we're down about 28 positions from back in '06. You can see the line here is actually our position count. These are transactions. So you can see the market's been very vibrant, obviously continuing to rise through 18. 19, we may start to see some leveling off. That's kind of what we're seeing right now in many areas. But we've been able to maintain by leveraging technology and improvement process has helped us keep that in check. This is more just an informational slide, let you know the various departments we have within our organization. Obviously, about 50% of our staff are in the appraisal department, but we do have a small but mighty and robust information systems team. GIS is our mapping and land records division that processes all the deeds that come in from the clerk, and obviously we do all the parcel mapping. And then it's assessment administration, all the exemptions. Homestead obviously is the big one, but a lot of other exemptions that are afforded our citizens and various charitable organizations. Those are administered through that side, as well as they also handle all the public information requests, our tax roll compliance, and all our finance. So staffing, recruitment, and education, we've been very successful with some minor department restructuring, continue to cross-train our existing and new staff, and our office continues to be a leader throughout not only the state but in the nation with our education and training of our staff. We just recently hosted the Florida International Association of Assessing Officers annual event in St. Pete last week. We were the host county. We got some rave reviews from that, but we've surpassed West Palm Beach by quite a bit in the number of designated appraisers that we have. They're only at about 26. We have over 40. So we're standouts in the state right now in that regard, and we're able to actually really do a great job educating our staff because we have a certified teacher in our office, and then Hillsborough has one as well. So we do a lot of moving our staff back and forth so we can do it a lot more cost effectively. Not a lot of hotel night stays. So we had a very successful GIS student intern program last summer. We brought 2.5 actually. We had one that was part-time, but we're bringing 2 more back in this year. That's been great, and we hope to get some new hires out of that down the road. And public outreach, we continue on that. We've done over 100 events since early 2017. Some of the stats for 2018. Our parcel count continues to grow, but we're in the vicinity of 450,000 parcels. A lot of permits and deeds being processed, a lot of splits and combines of parcels. You have land assemblages for redevelopment, and you have parcel splits as part of new subdivisions. So that process is always going on. We've injected a lot more process improvement there to simplify that process and work with our various planning and development agencies throughout the county to not get these back and forths with not creating what's the word? Non-conforming, yeah, I wanted to say non-compliant, but non-conforming
Rodney.
Rodney knows that word by
lots.
heart.
Yes, thank you for that. So yes, we've, and that seems to be going over well. So we're making sure we have that communication up front before those splits are occurring. And then, of course, we've got our teams ready for any potential damage assessment that hopefully we don't have to do. But here's what you care about. So let's look at values. So you can see in 2018, we almost reached the peak. The blue line depicts just market value. The gold bar is taxable value. So you can see we were almost back to the peak, and this year we're gonna surpass it. So we're gonna break that 120 billion of just market value. We're gonna certainly break $80 billion of taxable value. And then if you put new construction on there, new construction's red off the axis on the far right, but you can see we approached $1 billion of new construction last year, and we think we're going to be in that neighborhood again this year.
Mike, and
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry, what area do you see that new construction? Again, I'm sorry.
Sure. The bulk of the sectors where we're seeing the bulk of the new construction, obviously, still some housing development. It's mostly condominium projects and some infill, single family and townhomes. But then in the commercial sector, it's multifamily is the big one. You've seen apartments popping up all over the place. So that's the biggie. Hospitality has been in there, and self-storage. A lot of new self-storage has popped up all around the county. So those are the three big drivers for new construction. We do have a new website under development. I think we talked about this last year. I told you we were starting that project. We are neck deep in it right now. And I know the county, we're actually using the same vendor. The county came behind us. They're using the same vendor that we had selected, SGS Technology. So we're doing well in that process, but it's a big task to get it all teed up. And there's a lot of moving parts to our website. And when we roll it out, we want it to be, at a minimum, the best in the state, if not the best in the country, as far as on the platform of property appraisers sites. So we're trying to inject a lot of what the public, we're setting up a beta team of industry professionals from all over the county to drive our site. We're getting close to them being able to get in and start to drive the search parameters because we want it to have the most intelligent search and the easiest way to get data out of it and it to be very interactive. So we're going to be very proud when we roll it out, but we're not going to roll it out until it's truly ready. You can see what kind of action the site gets, over 1.25 million users, over 50 million page views. So, and one thing we're also very proud of is the tax estimator that we built a couple years ago is now getting over 7,000 runs per month. So we know the new buyers out there are out there actually driving that so that they don't get themselves in too deep with their first purchase in Florida. These are just some of the features that it's going to have. Obviously, it'll be mobile friendly, ADA compliant, but it's going to be heavy on some new GIS data layers, and the enhanced search and reporting options are going to be much more enhanced than they have been in the past. So this is kind of dovetails into two projects we're working on. The genesis started with starting the 3D pilot, but then that led into us also doing an erosion control line project down the barrier islands. So we are, at this point, we started in Sand Key, and we're moving south to get all of our western boundaries aligned with the erosion control line where one exists, because that essentially trumps the mean high water mark as your western boundary, unless you're before a certain date. There's a bunch of rules, so we have to literally do research on every parcel as we go down the barrier islands. But we started this at the northern tip of Sand Key. We're moving south, one jurisdiction at a time. We're down working in the Indian Shores area at present, but we make sure it gets done through our mapping division. It gets pushed to our appraisal team. They analyze it, deal with any valuation tweaks on landlines, and then it moves to the website. So if our citizens are on the website, and you'll see some things that look a little different, and I'll show you here in a second.
Madam Chair, before he continues on that issue, is this modeling taking into consideration all the new data that is coming from the scientists throughout our country on rising sea level?
Well, this model does not. This is literally a project to actually build these in 3D first.
Well, I guess my concern is that if you're showing this and it's on our website and people are seeing it, does that raise the expectation that they can look forward to some kind of a massive, big project like that along the shoreline? I'm just,
Those actually exist. Those were existing buildings.
on Sand Key?
Yes. Those were all existing.
We were, yeah.
This will be something that can be dovetailed in with any sea level rise projections down the road, and they can interact together. But this is really just the construction of those models first. First, you have to build them. So we have to digitize each unit within, which is what you saw on that early slide. So it's literally just 2D cadasters stacked on top of one another to create that. But then it moves to another stage where it actually gets a skin. You can do different things. You can cut the building in half. You can go inside of it. This is really for valuation purposes, but we can integrate flood scenarios and different things like that down the line, because we're getting the elevations of those floors as we build these as well. So we know where they stand against the base flood elevation within those areas. So these are just some samples of things you can do, and you can have all kinds of analytics to compare square footages, make sure you vet your square footages against it. The biggie is being able to analyze views. So when you have a project such as this that's over on the bay side, but still garners a lot of Gulf of Mexico views, it's really hard to tell who can actually see what when you're standing on the ground and you're looking up, and these condominiums now have multiple balconies. It's hard to tell whose balcony belongs to who, but this helps us do all those types of things. This is an example of the erosion control line project. So we're moving down, but if you go on the parcel map now, instead of just seeing one parcel, you'll see little outline footprints of the actual condominium building, and the individual units have their own cadastre. So obviously they're stacked, but you can't see that part yet. So right now we're still in a 2D world, but we're going through that process and building them as we go along. So that's a year-long project to get through, go all the way down the beach. We're touching 6,000 parcels. So on the flood insurance front, what we're trying to do, I'm currently the chair of what we've labeled the Florida Flood Impact Committee with the Property Appraisers Association of Florida, and we're working statewide. It's mostly our coastal counties involved, as you might expect, that are the most active, but we're trying to work together to develop a methodology of what impacts might look like. So, of course, in Washington, we're getting thrown some curveballs, and the game has changed a little bit up there. So I'll be up there next week. You probably are aware reauthorization has to happen at the end of May. I'm assuming that's going to be essentially a can kick. But this new curveball they talked about is this risk rating 2.0 that was just announced about a month ago. We're in the midst of these new preliminary maps that have been going on since last summer, and we've entered our 90-day window now, but still on the outside. It still could be up to a year before these preliminary maps are formally adopted and being able to be used for writing NFIP policies. But now FEMA came out and within their own authorization determined that they wanted to change the methodology and move away from the maps. So what does that all mean? Well, they're not really telling us right now. So they want to do it more like the private industry does, which is risk rate on a property-specific basis based on construction type, proximity to the water, elevation, whether you're elevated or not, all those types of things, which that makes sense, but they're not giving the full methodology yet and not saying what that impact on premiums might look like. So they're claiming they're not going to roll out what the premiums look like till April of next year, but they would be effective by October of 2020. So those are some of the answers I want to try and get through, because what do the maps mean now? Are we supposed to throw them in the garbage? I mean, Hillsboro's going through their process right now, so, and this is all being done through FEMA. They're circumventing essentially Congress. So Congress has filed some legislation that addresses more accurate mapping, but if they're not going to go to that methodology, then, so I want to try and sort through some of those things. So we've got some meetings scheduled for next week. One of the, another project that you guys should be aware of, Pinellas County has been doing an elevation certificate project for a while. Lisa Foster's been working that along with Aegis, but that was just for unincorporated properties. And I went ahead, met with both of them. We've enhanced the tool and made it much more user-friendly to be able to enter the data in a much more expedited fashion. And we're going to take that out to all the municipalities. So I said, we're already doing the permits. We'll take that on in my office and try and go ahead and get all the munis caught up. And the bigger ones, then we might be able to pass the torch to them to enter their own going forward as new building permits come through and that type of thing. But we want to get that essentially to be a one-stop shop with all of the existing ECs on there. So we're working that right now.
So, Madam Chair, I'm stuck back on the dates that you referenced, Mike,
Okay.
in terms of,
On this slide?
down at the bottom.
Yes.
So does that mean that existing policies will just go away and the new rate and everything will go into effect in October? That doesn't give people a lot of time.
That's when they say the new premium structure would be in place. There would still be some form, whatever they end up being, there would still be some form of a glide path from where people are today
Yeah,
within
you'd
the
like to
program.
think, but the last time we went through that, it wasn't much of a glide path.
No,
you
that
remember.
was a yank the rug out from under you.
Clearly.
They're claiming that's not going to be the approach, but I'm still even concerned with the glide path that, what are those, are they going to be 3, 4, 5 times what people are currently paying? That becomes problematic, so.
Thank you.
Whether this is a heat map of the preliminary map versus the current map, just so you can be aware. This depicts change in base flood elevation. Green is essentially good. It means your base flood elevation is actually going down based on new mapping and modeling and surge models. Red is not good. Red is not preferred. Yellow is no change. So if it's red, it means your base flood elevation is actually rising. This does not depict what that changes in feet by any intensity. It's just showing if you had movement up or down. Yes, sir.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Thanks.
Mr. Welch.
So what's the reason for the general trend that the West Coast is improving and the East Coast is not?
It's mostly just updating of maps. Our maps were, in many cases, 30-plus years old. Now they're using LiDAR mapping, and it's much more accurate, and they're realizing actually the elevations are better out there than they originally envisioned. And some of the storm modeling shows that the water does not stack as high and get as high on the actual west side of the storm. It's up in the bays. When it pushes You know, the storm is turning counterclockwise, pushes the water up into the bay, gets to the top of the bay, doesn't have anywhere to go. And that's where you have some of your worst problems.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. We do have a tool where citizens can go on at the parcel level and compare that current map to the preliminary map. Right down in here where this big yellow arrow is, that compare current versus preliminary. If that'll take you to your parcel, and there, if you click on your lot, it will tell you the change of the base flood elevation. So in this case here, it's still in the same zone, it's still in AE doing AE. However, it went from a BFE of 12 feet down to 9, so it's going down by 3 feet. And you can just swipe the preliminary map over the current map so you can see the effect of the change. That was another tool built by Aegis. So we thank them for that. And you can also get there through the PinellasCounty.org flooding site. So we've got that all synchronized together now. And that's all I had for you today. I'm sorry that was a long budget presentation.
Very interesting.
Excellent presentation. Very interesting. You and your staff are doing a lot.
Oh,
Good work.
There's a lot going on, and I have to thank my staff. They do a great job, and they do a really great job of making me look good, so I appreciate them.
Madam Chair, do you have a comment?
Commissioner Welch?
I echo your comments. I want to thank you for everything you're doing with data and as well as customer service.
Thank you.
So you mentioned a couple things on the property values finally approaching 2007 levels. You said multifamily, storage, and I missed the other one.
Hospitality.
Hospitality, okay. And thanks for everything you're doing on flood insurance. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
I
Thank you,
hope to
Madam
bring
Chair.
back some information. And happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers here. And
Oh, you're
and
knocking it out of the
there.
park now.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Wait a
Mike,
second.
Mike, I just,
Eggers has
Mike,
it.
just a comment. Really, I wanted to echo some of the comments that Commissioner Welch said. Thank you for the work you're doing on flood insurance, but also the leadership in the state on a number of issues. The training of your employees, training up everywhere. I think that's awesome, and keeping that number, that count, is flat as you can, because you just don't want to get into a position where we were before,
Right.
where we're having to let a lot of people go, and you're really taking advantage of technology. So, anyway, keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Appreciate all
Appreciate
you're
it.
doing.
Thank you all.
Let us know if you need any help
I will.
with those guys up there.
Thank you.
Well, not that they'll listen to us either, but.
Okay, next is our District 6 Medical Examiner, Dr. John Thogmartin.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you all. Thanks for entertaining me again. Let's make sure I get the right click. Okay, yes. This is coming up on 19 years, I guess.
Wow.
So it's been a long time for
Wow.
me. Welcome for the new folks. I feel like an old guy now. You know, I remember being up here years ago. I think I started at 36. I was 36 years old. Woo. A long time. Let's see. Kind of like, I know you guys have already heard a lot of this stuff. I don't want to bore you, but, you know, the public maybe hasn't. So medical examiner is divided into two things, or the forensic center, as we call it. You got the forensic laboratory, and you have the ME. ME serves Pasco and Pinellas. The forensic lab just serves Pinellas. But it does, when the Pasco County has a decedent that we perform autopsy on, the toxicology on that decedent is performed by the toxicology section of the forensic lab. So there's a little overlap there. Pasco pays for that. The forensic lab does DNA analysis, DUI, toxicology, does seized drugs, and fire debris analysis. So a lot of counties, like outside Pinellas, they're gonna have to use the state fire marshal's lab. We have our own fire debris, and my lab director, who does most of the fire debris analysis, she literally wrote the book on fire debris analysis that's used by fire debris labs. So really a great asset. I'm appointed by the governor. I contract with you guys, and I contract with Pasco, so I serve the same circuit that Bernie McCabe and Bob Dillinger serve. They are fee for service, so they pay per autopsy, per tox, per x-ray, and all that. And then they pay for the use of your building. They pay you every time there's an autopsy, every day that there's a body there. They pay storage fee and laboratory fees that we collect. Let's say we collect $100,000, you get $20,000 of it because you own the machines and you own the building where the machines reside. We perform toxicology on the decedents because Florida Administrative Code 11G requires it, and let's face it, the main mission is cause of death. In a lot of cases, you need toxicology to figure out what's going on. We're accredited by the National Association of Medical Examiners. We've been accredited for a decade. All my doctors are board certified in forensic pathology. We perform the reason that we're able to do what we do is because we have statute that empowers the medical examiner to do the death investigations. And then so that sets the maximum. The minimum is set by Florida Administrative Code 11G. So if there's someone that dies of gunshot wound and I don't do an autopsy, I could be disciplined by the Medical Examiner Commission. So it is heavily regulated by the state. So there's a minimum standards. It's just, to me, it's wonderful. Now the forensic lab, all the laboratory staff are individually certified, and then the lab is accredited too. You need that in order to get a lot of the grants that we get, and it seems like always over $300,000 in grants. That's in the budget that you have for us. And then from the forensic lab, I guess the big deal is synthetic opioids still. You shut down the pain clinics, and now here come the clandestine drugs. And they do the same thing that the pain clinic drugs do, but they're not FDA approved stuff, so you don't know what you're getting. And so we're getting a lot of deaths, and a lot of them are kind of a surprise for the person, I suppose. They think they're buying heroin, and they're getting, fluorofentanyl, and it's 10 times more potent, and they die. The laboratory work overall for the lab is up 16%, and so far this year, in fiscal year 19, we're up 20% over the previous fiscal year. The seized drugs, that would be like, kilos of cocaine or, methamphetamine or the opiates, it's up 7%. What's interesting, Rita, the laboratory director, wanted me to say this, and I'll say it. Over 4 years, the chemistry portion of the lab, so the people that take the drugs and identify them, their workload has gone up 24% in 4 years, over 4 years, but the staffing is the same. So they need, some props there, I think.
Amen.
Toxicology, suspected overdose toxicology, that is the tough one, where there's different levels of toxicology you're going to do. If you have someone that's anatomically normal and nothing else wrong with them, they're just dead, and it looks like maybe a drug situation, it is a suspected overdose. The toxicology depth of examination is greater because you have to look harder, because this is the whole tamale. The drugs are the cause of death. Those have gone up 15%. Now, our workload, we're seeing the opioids. We're not quite back to the death level of 2009, 8. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting close. Our autopsy total number for the whole district is up 6.8% over the previous year, calendar year. Pinellas, you guys are up 6.6%. That's mostly the opioids. That's mostly what that is. It could be population too, but your population's pretty stable. Pasco's up 7.3%. Pasco's fees are up 17% because we adjusted their fees. It's time to knock them up a little bit. There's inflation and all. And for calendar year 18, we are at the highest level ever. Total deaths are higher, and that's mostly driven by Pasco because they're just growing. You guys have been relatively stable. You're kind of creeping up, very slow. Pasco's, due to the growth, is going way up. Now, I always do this too because a friend of mine always tells me there's always that, if you're doing a good job, you kind of become seen as average. So I always try to, I'm sorry, this is just humble brag here. I do financial comparisons so you make sure you understand where you are compared to other places. And in my field, because we're so regulated, your maximum power is set at a certain level, your minimum examination is set at a certain level. So all the medical examiners walk in this lane of what we can do. And so when you're comparing budgets, you can do it very, very easily with an ME. Because I've got a wall here keeping me from doing too much and a wall here keeping me from doing too little, right? And if I take the total budgets and I divide it by workload, then we can come up with a comparison. Now, keep in mind, The only thing that Pinellas County taxpayers are obligated to do for the ME service is to provide money. And it's either money for a building, money for transport. You guys provide the building, you own the building and the stuff. But you don't have to regulate the ME, it's state regulated. You are just one vote in who your ME is, so the smart thing to do would be comply with the statute. Fund the ME, but have the ME not be under your control. Give them the money, have them indemnify you. That's what I do, I indemnify you. Since I'm appointed by the governor, I indemnify you. If I make a mistake, it's on me. So most MEs in Florida have that type of relationship with their counties. There's a few districts, I think there's 5 left, that where the county actually employs the ME. And so if the ME makes a mistake, the taxpayers are on the hook. I do not understand that at all. In every case, it costs more, and in every case, it causes problems. Jacksonville's got a federal lawsuit now. The city of Jacksonville employs their ME. I think that's a big mistake. Now they're eating a federal lawsuit. Every time a body is lost or wrongfully released, that those counties, the responsible county, they defend the ME, even though it's the ME's mistake. I think that's just wrong.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
did I hear you say every time a body is lost?
Yeah, that's the number one source besides, I've never, haven't lost one.
Well,
But
thank you.
people, I mean, let's face it, number one source of liability for a medical examiner is driving, having people drive around. That's number one source by far. I mean, you can't really avoid that, right? But the number 2 is releasing the wrong body. And then you're releasing Tom Jones, it should have been Tom Smith, and Tom Smith gets cremated. And then Tom Jones is at Tom Smith's viewing, and hey, that's not my husband. That happens. And that is bad. So, I mean, humans are humans. You know, you release, people make mistakes. So far, so good. We have a system where we haven't done that. We've come close. We caught it. I fired people over nearly doing it. It's not good. And I know people that have all these checks and balances, but it seems like humans just try to make mistakes. So we have a system of checks and balances to keep that from happening.
Thank you so much.
It's a really touchy subject.
Don't
I'll
ever
tell you.
leave us.
Well, again, I say this, and then tomorrow we have that happen. We do our best.
That's why you knocked on wood.
Yeah, oh my goodness, it scares me to death. I got goosebumps right now just thinking about it. Now, the arrangement we have is more in alignment with the law, and basically the pressure's on me, the financial pressure, the performance pressure, because if we make a mistake, it's on us. It's funny story about that. I actually told somebody what insurance company we use. I told another ME, hey, what professional liability insurance company do you use? And I told them. And so that ME went and got my insurance, and then within about 6 months released the wrong body, and it was wrongfully cremated, and he got his insurance canceled, and my insurance carrier almost canceled me. So when people ask me in my field, what insurance do you carry, I kind of obfuscate a little bit. I'm not going to really tell you. You find your own insurance, thank you. So, cost comparison. We have the districts. We're District 6, and then you have Hillsborough, District 13. Sarasota is District 12, it's right side of us. So these are our neighbors. District 17 is Broward, District 11 is Dade, and District 9 is Orlando. Those are either our neighbors or they're similar sized districts. Funny, I've worked in District 11, District 17 in the past. If you look at the size of those districts, the only district that has more workload than us is District 11, Miami-Dade. They have maybe 40% more workload. 13, Hillsborough has slightly less workload. 9 has slightly less than us. District 17 has believe it or not, Broward County has slightly less workload than us. And Sarasota's maybe half of our workload. But if you look at the prices, we're just over 5 million. Hillsborough's at 5.85 million. And if you look at the other prices, they vary, but there's no really good way of getting a context to that without having a denominator to divide that money by. So let's say we do it by autopsy. The autopsies that are done that are generally mandated by 11G are going to be consistent district to district. So if you divide that number by the autopsies, the total autopsies, we're at 3598, and you can see the others aren't even close. Dade County is over twice as expensive per autopsy performed. Now, I'll grant Dade County, throw them a bone. Their autopsies are probably a little bit more labor intensive than ours, but still, I don't think they're over twice as labor intensive. Then if you do it per violent death, now, there's a little variability in what cases you autopsy, but what a death is, if it's from an external traumatic source or a drug, that is deemed to be a violent death. So you can't change the circumstances of what has occurred. So of using violent deaths, drug ODs, car accidents, lightning strikes, shark attacks, things like that, those cannot be changed based upon the subjective choice of an examination you do. So if you divide by that, again, we're still less expensive than everybody else. Hillsborough County, quite a bit less expensive, and they're just right across the bay with generally the same demographics.
So, Madam Chair. So do you know what the reason for why those numbers were so dramatically different? What do you think?
I can give you an idea. All of those districts are county employees. Those MEs are county employees, so there's no incentive for them to be thrifty. They're not coming to you and saying, I need this for the contract, this is why. District 12 is private, but their contract is written in a very odd way that it kind of encourages burning up all the money at the end of the year. And you can do that. For me, I have to show you costs and expenses and profit or loss. And so I budget for zero, and it kind of keeps us, our slope of increase is less. And I mean, it's just, if I look at some of these places, really, if you were to take one of the years I took, and if you took one at like our model, Dade is so much more expensive than us. If you used our model based on their workload, and I could be chief ME in Dade, I could fly there in my own privately owned jet. I could helicopter in to the office every day and helicopter back and still be cheaper. And keep the jet. You know, that's how much more expensive they are. And you wonder why. It's just generally there's no incentive to try to be thrifty. There's no incentive. It's human nature, I guess. I don't know. But it's a nice comparison. Always helps. There's on a bar graph, same thing. Now, the workload is the highest. However, there's a decision package that you guys have. So exclude the decision package. Let's play like the Oracle program that we've had since 2003 is BTS is willing to support it. I have no problem with the program itself. It's just OTI, I guess, and BTS doesn't want anymore. You have to get up. You don't have to get up. Not yet. They don't want to support it, and I understand why. It's not my decision. It's fine. But if you take that out of my presentation and put that aside, the contract, even though I'm having 3% employee raises, 6.6% increase in your workload for the ME, more workload for the lab, the contract for ME services that you pay is only up 1.4%, $82,000. And why is that? It's because Pasco's got a higher workload. We've kept our staff the same, so Pasco's actually going up about $100,000. So Pasco's mitigating that. Also DUI submissions are up. Some of the other miscellaneous income is up. And we've had some staff changes that have helped keep overall payroll down a little bit. Some more highly compensated employees have left and been replaced by some lower. So we're able to keep it pretty low. With the decision package, it would be the contract would have an additional $166,000, and that would bump it up to 4.8%. So contract part goes up 4.8%. Again, with your workload for the ME, the lab, 6.6% more cases, you're still, even with the new computer program, still cheaper than the overall workload increase. And so the decision package, it includes about $152,000 for the Justice Tracks program, and that's the same program that the laboratory uses, so maybe they can talk. And then it also includes IT support, so the total amount is $331,000. But it's got to happen. Oracle is just obsolete. It's going to die, and we absolutely have to have a database program. You can't really do ME work, you can't at all without a database program.
Madam Chair? So is that like a case management program? What is?
That's correct.
Okay. And I saw so Brian freaking out over it.
Yeah, he can talk. Go ahead, buddy.
Brian's here.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Commissioners. Brian Zumwalt, Office of Technology and Innovation. Currently, the medical examiner office is on an old Oracle platform. Was built by BTS almost 12 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. What we're attempting to do with this decision package is bring them up onto a commercial package that currently is used by the forensic lab side of the operation, called Justice Tracks. And the current application is on an unsupported platform, an old Oracle Forms application. You know, this is the case management system that keeps track of the bodies. So, you know,
Okay.
to go back to the,
That's important.
Active bodies.
so that's really what this is, to modernize the application. The same way I talked about in my budget presentation, where we're modernizing the application portfolio. This is just another part of that process.
And how long would it take to implement the new technology?
About a year is what we think right now, to migrate all the data into the new system and get the new system up and running.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Akers?
Earlier, you had talked about, I think you were talking about Pasco County and monies that we get from Pasco using our equipment.
That's correct.
And you said we get 20% of that
Yes.
income. Where does the other 80% go? Is
Me.
that to your operation?
Yeah, to pay for the people and
Okay.
everything that's expendable is through the contract. Everything that's hard is owned by the county. That way, if I die, somebody runs me over on my bicycle or something, you can just like replace me with somebody else and they just walk in and everything's there. That's why you guys control the computer data, own the software, you know, because there has been people, MEs across the country, where they own the building, they own the computers, they own the tables, and when the ME dies, that's owned by them and the county owns nothing, and then it's a big fiasco. So the 20%, it predates me. The ratio
How the
predates me.
ratios were just-
Yeah,
yeah.
completely predates me. I took over a private office when Joan Wood was running it. It was 80-20. Everybody seemed good with that. But you're talking about what the 80% is the people doing the testing, all the costs of the payroll people, the laboratory supplies, the insurance. So to me, I think 80-20 is about right. Pasco is using your equipment. So when we collect from them, I think 20% you deserve.
That's a pretty good return.
That's good. I mean, you know, management fees, 5%, 10%. This is 20 because you own the stuff. If you guys wanted to examine that, I'd be willing to talk about it, but I think it's fair and equitable.
Well, I would have no basis on which to do that, but it sounds like a pretty good deal.
I would like to take a look at it. I think, you know, almost every year I ask if Pasco is
Yes.
paying their fair share. And is that 20% supposed to also cover our capital, like our building and?
Right, exactly.
And-
It's the instrument, it's think about everything that you're paying for. Think about everything you're paying for. You're paying for the building, you built the building. Pasco did pay a portion of the building. They're paying like 800 something per autopsy until 2022.
That's right. We
So they're
did
helping
change
you out
that.
with that. But that's for building a new building. So you're absorbing the case, you're storing the case. But also when, like for instance, I'll give you an idea of how you recover your capital cost. Was it last year or the year before? We got an LCMS. It was 400,000 something. You guys bought that, the taxpayers bought it. What that did for you was that allowed us to bring testing, more testing inside the office as opposed to just sending it out. So if there was a test that we sent to NMS outside in Pennsylvania, we send that out for them, they would pay, we'd pay that bill and then they'd reimburse us. So you're not in the mix. But now we brought all that testing in-house so that that instrument is able to find a ton of, if Rita was here, she'd tell you, it can test a ton of stuff. So every time that instrument quants something that they didn't quant before, it's like I think it's $100 per quant, you get 20 bucks every time. And so instead of not seeing anything, you're bringing more testing in-house. That's another reason why the incomes come up. And you're feeling that getting only a 1.4% increase when you have a 6.6% increase in caseload, that's capital return on that, partially for that 450 or 400 that you gave out. Because now the testing is in-house, you're getting 20%, that's coming back to you. And also, that money that's in-house mitigates my cost too. Don't forget, if the 80% stays with me, it helps me pay the employees, so it lowers the overall payroll, portion of the payroll you'll pay.
So is it still about 35-65 split? Like,
Oh, it's getting higher now.
It's higher
But
now.
they've gone up. Our current budget, my estimate for Pasco was 872 total Pasco income for the office, not for you, just for me.
okay,
And it's gone from 872 to 998.
Mm-hmm.
And yours has gone up proportionally as well, just proportionally like that.
so do you think we're doing 40% for them and 60% for us now? I mean, past.
Yeah, maybe a little less, but keep in mind, same thing I say before, your level of service is much higher than them.
Mm-hmm.
I've had conversations with them that their contract with you ends in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever I've driven through Pasco County just recently, they're growing like crazy. They're now up, how many autopsies do they have, Bill? Like, they're above 500 now, aren't they? Easily. 524, I think it was. They are so big now that they could actually support their own satellite location. So I've told like some of the members of the sheriff's office, if you want to explore building your own office, your contract with Pinellas ends in 2022. You should start planning now if you plan on ever doing that. And once they're out of there, they could still have their toxicology done in your office, just not the bodies. Or they could send the toxicology outside. I would encourage them to send it to your office, your building, and then you'd get 20%. But if they choose not to, they go outside. But then your relationship kind of ends with them. And
But that 80/20 is really our relationship with you.
Correct.
It's the total, the cost per is what
Right.
we do with Pasco.
right, whatever I collect from Pasco for doing testing on the taxpayers' instruments, the taxpayers get 20% back into the general fund.
But the amount that we're charging Pasco is that like an industry standard, or how do you?
Well, I think our lab is better than most labs. I think we're a little bit more expensive.
Okay.
If they were to send it out, they'd probably save a little money, but their level of service would be extremely poor.
Okay.
When when Bob Dillinger wanted somebody to come and testify as a witness, it would create a great burden on the local circuit courts of Pasco. It would create a great burden for them. Your level of service is much better, and I think that the lab can't be better. I mean, you have the forensic pathologist and the toxicology. In-house toxicology is not necessarily a money saver. What it is a way of getting excellent service more than anything
Quality.
else. Quality
Yeah.
is really what it's about. You have that direct communication. I've had relationships with satellite labs, and they're problematic. And then when the state attorney needs somebody to come and testify, good luck. It's really hard. So I always tell people that the medical examiner, forensic lab, crime lab, law enforcement, fire department, you need all those things to have a decent civil society. And the better of those services you have, the better your general infrastructure or society runs. I mean, what I do, I try to keep a low profile. This is about the only public thing I ever do. You want to do a good job, but you want to do it in the background. You want to keep things low down, low key, and nobody should notice me.
So, Madam Chair, so Dr. Thogmartin, I think I heard you say, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that 20% that Pasco pays to us has not been adjusted in a long time, correct?
The percent.
The percent. And I also thought I heard you say that your employees are doing a lot more. What was, because you were giving accolades to your staff for the
Yes.
work that they're doing and the quantity of it
Yes.
compared to before. So would it be unreasonable for us to think about maybe taking a look at that 80-20 split? The 80-20
I'd
is
like to
with
take it a
us.
step further.
I get
I
that.
pulled up your budget request chart that was provided by OMB. And so I'm assuming charges for services and grants and general fund support. So your total budget's about 7.7 million?
Yes.
Okay. And of that, you're getting charges for services and grants, so that includes anything you get for forensic, et cetera. So you're getting about 1.1 million and change.
Yeah, what I have, their numbers are always a little different than ours. I'll tell you what, our total expenditures, all funds, I have it at 7.9. Outside revenue at 1.377. That's Pasco, DUI, the rare occasional outside people that give us DNA testing fees and stuff like that. So when an agency does a DUI test, if I bill them $100, you get 20%. If somebody asks for DNA and they get billed like, I don't know, $400, you get 20%. So the total revenue in is 1.377 for me. For you, the total money from, total money for general fund is 6.5.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm
And then
going.
you return, and on top of that, so you have to give 6.5 to support the office total, but you get back 1.6 almost million out of that 6.5.
1.6 million total for Pasco and for the
No,
forensic labs?
everything back, including grants, Pasco, everything else. So if your total general fund support is 6.5,
Yeah,
and then you get back on the backside, grant funding, Pasco fees for service, your 20%, your fee for autopsy for the use of the building, I have it around 1.598 back to you. So if you subtract those back, you're at about 5 million.
I see what you're saying. Anyway, I think it does bear taking a look at, just to make sure, you know, our taxpayers aren't paying the burden for Pasco.
I don't think they are. I think you'll find if you do it that way and you understand that they're getting less service because they're remote. They have to, all their bodies come down. If you look at that, I think you'll be satisfied. I'm satisfied. They just had a fee increase, like pretty significant one. So I think you'll be satisfied.
And I just, you know, kind of for the record, because I'm the one who really went after charging for the building. And that was because we used Penny for Pinellas funds to build that facility. And it was reasonable to ask for some kind of reimbursement. So I don't really see that as going for a new building. I see that as reimbursing us for
Right.
our
for-
cost to
since-
build where you are now.
Since 1970, when I came here, since 1973, you would charge them $25 per autopsy or per body for the building, all the way up, not really any changes. And then when you built your new building, that same fee, logically, everybody kind of agreed, went to 800 and change. And it's sliding scale, it's amortization schedule of some sort. Last time I checked, it was like 800 and change. But I mean, 25 was pretty cheap. I think 800 is about right. If you're using someone's building, that's about right. And if you look at the total outlay per autopsy, I don't even think it approaches, it's about $3,000, maybe a little less, depending on testing done. So I think they're getting a fair and equitable amount. They're getting a decent deal.
The other thing I'd like to see is, we knew when we approved funding the forensic laboratory that it would cost us some money, but it looks like, I'd like to see, this is how much, I see it on this chart, for what the forensic laboratory costs, but then what are we getting back in fees? I mean, how much are we subsidizing?
You are, the forensic lab is a Pinellas County, completely Pinellas County thing, completely.
So
The
Pasco
only-
doesn't use it at all?
Pasco uses it just for their ME work, and whatever they pay is a fee for service. They pay, let me see, I can tell you right now how much they pay for your lab. Let's see. They're paying just for laboratory testing. I'm predicting they're going to pay $255,000. Out of that, you'll get 20%. And if you think about toxicology fees for outside labs, that's pretty heavy. That's a pretty good price. So they could probably save some money by not using toxicology with the office, but their quality of service would be extremely poor compared, I think.
Yes, Commissioner.
So I heard you mention the cause of the opioid cause of death. What are you seeing in terms of suicide?
It's the same thing. Mostly it's men like the violent means, women tend to like the less violent means. Suicides are not incredibly going higher. I haven't really noticed anything right off the top of my head. I'd have to look at the actual numbers, but nothing jumps out at me. Mostly it's rich people that tend to shoot themselves more than poor people, because I guess rich people have more to be depressed about. I don't know.
Commissioner Justice and then Commissioner Welch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You said, Pasco, that you had 524 autopsies,
Yeah,
give or take?
give or take. That'd be
And
about right.
Pinellas, what's our number that you?
Oh, you're in the 900, 800 high?
And then, we had an uptick in percent, but can you give me just a number, a ballpark number of what the increase in deaths from the toxicology of the opioids or the,
I could not right off the top of my head.
Okay.
It's up there. I think most of your workload increase would be the opioids, but I couldn't as I stand here, I couldn't tell you. I can email you that stuff.
Yeah,
if
I
you
would
like.
appreciate it.
Sure.
Numbers are, percentages drive me crazy, so.
I know, me too.
I try to I could throw that stuff in there at the time when I was doing it, but I just kind of want to keep it not busy when I'm doing a presentation, you know.
Yeah, in past years, you've also given us kind of where the deaths are by type.
Sure,
So I
I
think,
can do that. Anything
in
you guys
addition to the
want.
opioids, we'd like to see that.
If you'd like, I can send you a whole statistical thing to all of you
That'd be
with
great.
all that stuff.
I always
just to
think it's
peruse.
interesting, and it tells us, unfortunately, what the trends are.
Sure.
So, Commissioner Welch?
Like an old married couple, you asked the question I was gonna ask, so that's exactly what I was gonna ask for, that annual report that details everything. Back to the suicide question from Commissioner Long. No trend in the age of the suicide victim?
That's really deep into the stats.
Okay.
I haven't noticed anything. Nothing stands out to me. Bill, you notice anything?
Suicide slightly up, but,
Could you come up,
Please
please?
come on up.
This is my Director of Operations, Bill Pellin. He does all the stats and all the statistical reporting. so he knows.
the suicides are slightly up, I would say, but as far as any significant change in the ages, I haven't seen anything with that.
Can you remember approximate number off the top of your head?
I don't have
Okay.
that, no, but it'll be included in the annual report we send everyone, so.
Okay,
And the ages will be broken down too.
thank you.
Great. Ages will be broken.
Yeah. Now, I just, I don't know where I read it or saw it about how was it from Dr. Cho, maybe? About suicides in young people? Was that you?
Is that part of your presentation?
And I'll talk about it in my presentation.
Okay.
But it's part of the survey results.
Oh, okay
Okay.
then, sorry.
He's going to talk about it during his presentation for the record. Dr. Cho. Okay. Anybody else? Well, thank you for the excellent job that
Thank
you
you.
all do. You know, if there's ever any complaints, we hear them, and I never get a complaint,
Let's
ever.
hope so. Again, knock on wood.
So,
Madam
thanks
Chair.
to you
Thank
and
your staff for us
your
as
good
well.
staff.
I just wanted to say one thing. I wanted to thank you for letting Rita give us a tour of the office, not the bodies part, but the forensic office.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
Rita's
if you
part
had-
is so much cooler. It's got the cool machines, looks really
It does,
techy.
it's fascinating.
Yeah,
Well,
and if
no,
any,
not
to
that the
recap,
kids
I'll-
didn't want to see the bodies.
we
but-
can send you the statistics you were talking about. I'll just send it to all you guys. How about that?
Yes.
Is that cool?
Yeah, please.
Thanks.
Great.
But it's
Thank you.
fascinating.
Thank you, Rita.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Dr. Cho with the Florida Department of Health in Pinellas County.
And that's sobering enough for me.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm not sure if I have all the stats that you may be requesting on me. I love how this commission is data-driven, so I appreciate that. So good morning, everybody.
Morning.
So a little update on what's going on with the health department as well as the budget presentation. I always start with the mission of the Florida Department of Health here in Pinellas County. It's to protect the community, to promote good health and good choices, and to improve the health of all people of Florida through integrated efforts. And we accomplish this by offering a number of various services. We provide over 1.4 million services annually in a wide variety of types of services. The statute that talks about the relationship between the county as well as the health department, the state agency. The legislature recognizes unique partnership with which necessarily exists between the state, its counties, and meetings. The public health needs through contractual agreement between the state and each county. So that really goes back to that core contract. So what are the top health priorities of a community? We go through a process where we look at some of the data, we convene community partners and come up with what we call the Community Health Improvement Plan. So using that document as well as our assessment processes, we identified these top 3 priorities on the last cycle, including access to care, ensuring that there is access to medical, dental, and mental health services, Behavioral health and suicide, as well as substance abuse, are huge concerns. The concern being that at a national level, we are seeing a decrease in life expectancy for the past 3 years. The biggest uptick is due to overdose deaths as well as suicide, as well as alcohol. So these substances and behavioral health issues. And then lastly, looking at the built environment and social determinants of health, looking at that, realizing things like the socioeconomic factors are a bigger impact sometimes to our community health, and things like transportation and housing are big factors when it comes to population and community health. So the next few slides, I'm talking about some of the areas that we're focusing on currently, some of the priority areas we've touched on in previous meetings here. Obviously, the school health nurses are huge. Thank you for your continued support of this initiative. I think it's going into the 3rd year now. But we are seeing all the results, a lot of great results with this initiative and benefits to school-age children here in Pinellas County, including an increase in referrals to community services, increase in educational opportunities, better management of immunization compliance rates across all grade levels. We do this annually, looking at the kindergarten and 7th grade immunization rates to see if we meet the state targets of 95%. For the most part, we do meet it consistently on the 7th grade, but on the kindergarten, it does drop below 95%. And with the assistance of the school health nurses, we're above targets for the mandated physical screenings, including hearing, vision, scoliosis, as well as growth. And then we've seen an increase in the return to class, which is one of the key things that these nurses accomplish. But beyond that, too, the nurses serve as that boots on the ground, the eyes and ears of those in the schools, and they were able to drastically increase the number of referrals. And I'm going to just throw out a few numbers in terms of referrals to guidance, of over 1,000. Referrals were made year to date. Community mental health services, over 550. Other referrals include substance abuse at 23 and suicidal ideations at 85. So,
What was the last one?
suicidal ideations. So they caught kids. They're those the first eyes. That screening that they are the ones that are on the looking and dealing with them day to day, looking at the students, seeing that a student is in trouble. So being that first line is needed, and certainly I think we've seen a lot of great benefits with the school health nurses so far. And with the remainder of this year, we're projected to spend the dollars allocated for school health nurses. So it is going well. Keeping in mind, as I presented previously, that it is a 5-year plan to get that nurse in every school. Still awaiting some attrition and shifting just to finally get that goal.
Question, Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
The mics are really sensitive this morning, so we're hearing
Yeah.
everything. So on the nurses, you mentioned some referral numbers. Can we get those?
Yes, sir.
When you get a chance?
Absolutely.
And so what level are we in terms of fully staffing? You went through the 5-year plan, but where are we? 85%, 90%?
I'll have to get that number via the school, the health district, the school board district. I can't. I'll have to come back to you on that. But what the plan entailed was a shifting of some of the nurses. They had health techs that were doing it at the same time. So I think they're doing either a training plan or as well as other transition plans, as well as other RNs. Keeping in mind that the model that we proposed was that having that LPN at every school with 1 RN to 10 LPNs. So, and again, I can get you that number.
Okay. My only question is, the millage will increase the dollar amount as property base goes up.
Right.
There's no adjustment that's needed over the next 2 or 3 years to keep it fully staffed? Or did we look at that when we initially implemented the millage?
I think that we just need to look at it on a year-to-year basis, and as we do finally reach that model. But again, keeping in mind that the allocated amount from the county has been spent down, and that is the plan for this year. In terms of the adjustments for inflation or cost of living, I'll have to circle back with the school board on some of that.
Okay, but that's a recurring allocation?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So hepatitis A. Hepatitis A, we have unfortunately seen some increased activity here in Pinellas County. To date, since 2018, we have seen 332 cases of hepatitis A, making it one of the largest case counts in the state. This mirrors, for the most part, national trends. We've seen pockets and outbreaks in other parts of the country as well. You can see here the highest incidence and rates and cases are among adults 30 to 39, primarily non-Hispanic white men. And in terms of some of the risk factors, and it goes to the transmission, it's mainly by person-to-person contact. The risk factors, the largest one is actually substance abuse. That accounted for about 62% of our cases. IV drug use, about 41%. So for the most part, a lot of it, unfortunately, we're seeing, it mirrors the trends of the increase we're seeing in some of the substance abuse providers' usage here in Pinellas County.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Just in the last week, I've actually had 2 or 3 people ask me this, if they're reading about Hep A. What's the, you said it's done through contact?
So
How so? Because the question really came back to restaurants.
Right.
People with Hep A in restaurants, and what are the rules and regs for that, and how does that work? I think that seems to be some of the questions I'm getting.
So in terms of the transmissions by a contact, fecal oral route, stools that can contact with surfaces, but for the most part, it's person-to-person contact, hygiene practices, especially in those in the high-risk groups. That includes the substance abuse, includes those experiencing homelessness. Now, in terms of the patron restaurant notification, we do inspect any food worker that tests positive for hepatitis A. We go through the process looking at risks, looking at various factors, including whether they were symptomatic, whether they had a possibility to spread it to patrons. We do then conduct a joint investigation with other state agencies to inspect the hand hygiene practices of that particular establishment. And if it bubbles up to that level and it meets the criteria and is deemed a public health threat, that is when we make a public health notification. Now, if it doesn't meet that criteria, it is of minimal risk to the public. And again, we work with restaurants, we work with the coworkers, and using the CDC guidance, we do, regardless if it's high risk or low risk, do vaccinate the coworkers, just following the guidance. And then I think going back to some of what the CDC is seeing at both the national and DOH at a statewide level, that this outbreak isn't foodborne. In fact, there hasn't been any evidence of hepatitis A cases transmitted via food routes. It goes back, unfortunately, to those high-risk groups. And then from the health department standpoint, we're going to continue to spread that message where we need to vaccinate. We need to practice good hand hygiene practices.
Okay, thank you.
So in terms of the interventions, we've administered already several thousand vaccines, over 7,700 as of last week, since last year. We have been offering a vaccine at no cost in our facilities since the fall of last year. We need to continue to heighten education to the community. We've done over 100 outreaches for both education as well as vaccination efforts, and then we've worked with our community partners, working with those high-risk groups, the jails, the homeless shelters, the substance abuse providers, the hospitals, to make sure that we target and we're capturing those high-risk groups. So a bit of good news is that in April we did see a slight decrease compared to the previous month of March. So we're hopeful that this trend continues, but if it's similar to other outbreaks seen nationally, this could persist for the next 12 to 24 months, unfortunately. But again, what our goal is to continue our efforts in terms of vaccination, in terms of education. We'll certainly keep the board informed of our efforts.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Welch and then Commissioner George.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Dr. Cho, for being here.
Yes, sir.
One of the questions Commissioner Eggers asked, that the restaurants they get the headlines, but they aren't actually where the problem, the biggest part of the problem is. But the Times did indicate that Pinellas leads the state, and your graphic verifies that. Mm-hmm. So what's happening here that's not happening, say, in Miami-Dade or other parts of the state? That's
somewhat of a tough one to decipher. It's obviously affecting more the Tampa Bay area. For example, Pasco is number 2. So it has to be the patient population within the high-risk groups. And again, with 62% being substance abuse providers, it's hepatitis having infected or infiltrated within at least that high-risk group is probably what I'd speculate as one of the causes of the increase here in Pinellas County.
What triggers the test? What has to happen before someone is tested for it?
So, a number of things. If someone goes to the hospital or their doctor's office, they look for some of those symptoms. Symptoms of hepatitis could include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain. It can include yellowing of the skin and the eyes. So they look for some of those symptoms in terms of triggers. They look at lab results. Usually, they see a pretty large increase in the liver function tests. Normally, what doctors usually do is do a hepatitis panel to see if it's not only hepatitis A, but other acute hepatitis, including B and C.
Okay. And last question, Madam Chair. On the vaccine, is that always post a positive test, or it's not a preventive vaccine, is it?
So going back to post-exposure prophylaxis, so it's both. So vaccine for the most part is preventative. It is pretty effective, and it's a 2-dose shot. But if in terms of close contacts, if you get it within 14 days, according to the CDC, it does act like that post-exposure prophylaxis.
But it's not part of the normal vaccination routine that most people get.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It is recommended by the CDC for any children above the age of 1. So it is routine. It's not a school requirement, but it is recommended as a routine vaccine. And in terms of this outbreak, the CDC came out with other guidance for vaccination efforts to target those high-risk groups, those experiencing homelessness, substance abuse, recent incarcerations, those with chronic liver diseases, among other groups.
Is there a cost for the vaccine?
So we're utilizing the funds that we have. We've waived the administrative costs and leveraging whatever federal vaccine resources we have.
Okay. So, but is there a cost if somebody walks in and?
No, there's not.
No cost?
Not
Okay.
for our 5 clinical sites here in Pinellas County at no-cost vaccines.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Well, my question was along the same lines. If a normal person who has, I shouldn't use that word, but who does not necessarily have contact with those groups, would you suggest they get vaccinated if they're worried about it?
So I have 2 answers for that one. So from a public health standpoint, anything that's vaccine preventable, you get the vaccine. The vaccine's there, despite the recommendations. But for this current outbreak, again, targeting the high-risk groups is the main focus. But anyone, again, at the no-cost vaccines, anyone is welcome to get the vaccine. I encourage anyone to get the vaccine. Please practice good hand hygiene.
Okay, thanks.
So other priority areas includes our dental sealant, supported by both JWB as well as the county. We do have 2 dental sealant teams, and for the past 2 years, we've been able to touch all of our Title I elementary schools here in Pinellas County. This really goes back to prevention, preventing those cavities from occurring to begin with. We've also did 2 to 3 Title I middle schools. You can see the number of children, 7,600 with 23,000 sealants placed. I think Dr. Thogmartin and I touched on this. We're going to, here at the Health Department, we are pretty active with the opioid task force. We are waiting for some of the final numbers from the ME's office, but there is probably a slight increase here, unfortunately, this past year in overdose deaths due to opioids. So you can see our priority areas. We have a subcommittee working on each one. Certainly, I think you're probably aware that there's a bill now looking for needle exchange and how that would look like if the governor signs off on it. I'm sure that the opioid task force would assist in how to make that operational, what the steps we'd have to take. So mental health remains a top concern here. It is a public health crisis, as it is decreasing life expectancy. Youth are at the forefront, as I think was mentioned, and in light of the tragic incident in Colorado again, I think any time that happens, it always amplifies and highlights the importance of having that mental health and screening and capturing them at a young age. And Commissioner Long, I think you were referring to this infographic For the most part, every year or every other year, the school board here does a youth behavioral health assessment. And when we look at some of that data, it does get concerning, with 25% of those surveyed, and these are high school students, reporting having seriously thought about killing themselves. So that's huge. And if you look at some of the other data from that same report, 19% have developed a plan, and 10% have attempted. It is mental health, especially in the youth, are a huge concern, but mental health overall. So how do you tackle something like this? It's a huge problem. I think we need to make sure that our community partners are at the table, that we are working together to raise that awareness and education, and making sure we look at it both from the downstream element, looking at our system of care. Are we optimizing our resources that we have here? And then looking at it also from the upstream. What are some preventative efforts? What are some of the screenings that what we can implement here to capture them young, to get them into services young? So certainly I think these are huge topics, and I think it takes all of us to sort of look at it and to develop and formulate that plan. I think one of the commissioners mentioned some of the data in terms of the demographic information as it pertains to suicide. I think in the next 2 weeks, USF and Baycare has conducted a study looking at the suicide deaths, so diving into some of the demographics, what areas that we can focus on, or populations we can focus on, and hopefully we can come up with some priority areas and initiatives and objectives from some of that data that is presented. So the last one I'll touch on, health and health policies. It's a national initiative. It's a strategy to ensure that the leaders are informed about health consequences of various policies, like looking at transportation is a concern, especially for our indigent population, acknowledging that the social determinants have a profound impact on health. So making sure that health is a consideration in development of policies. We're fortunately awarded a grant through the Foundation for Healthy St. Petersburg, working in partnership with the Pinellas County as well as the cities of St. Petersburg and Pinellas Park to try to implement this program. We're moving into year 2, so hopefully we can start looking at some of the policies and the impacts some of those policies on things like transportation would have in terms of health outcomes. So in terms of the financial numbers, this is for our current year, our operating budget over $55 million. You can see the sources of that budget, including local grants and contracts at 40%, state dollars, federal dollars, fees, as well as the county contract, which comprises about 9%. Now looking at the core contract in itself, which it totals over $6.7 million. You can see in terms of expenditures, 65% was due to clinical services. The pie in the orange, 23% school health, dental health, as well as disease control immunization, making a very small fraction of that.
Dr. Joe?
Yes, sir.
On the dental health, there's an effort going on, I think it's by Community Health, to try to address some of the they perceive as a dental services demand up in the Tarpon Springs area. Do you still see pockets in our county where we have some issues providing, especially for children, but anybody at any age, dental health services?
Well, I don't have the numbers on hand, but the biggest indicator that we look at for things like that includes hospitalization due to dental emergencies. Unfortunately, our numbers I think it went down last year, but the 2 years prior, it did trend upwards. That also goes with preventable hospitalizations as well. So these are 2 indicators to see what our safety nets are. So certainly dental is always a need in both in our community as well as statewide.
But you don't see any trends necessarily, it's parts of the county any different?
I think my team could probably put something together if you're interested in looking at that.
That'd be great, yeah, thank you.
And then moving on to this coming fiscal year, you can see with the ad valorem tax set at a rate at 0.08, totaling with an estimated funding of $6.2 million. You can see the planned expenditures with primary care services. This is adult, this is STDs, immunizations being at 4.7 million, school health nurses stable at 1.4. You can see our health fund reserves at 1.2 million. It did take a slight increase because of lapse for school nurses, at least in the first year, and also a small increase in revenue projections. But the plan with this, we are planning to build building renovations, especially generators, and especially with the hurricanes coming up. At our center and locations, it may present a decision packet for this coming year to utilize the reserve funds for items above the operating expenditure, so look for that later in the year. And then lastly, I think we've always put some performance measures. We track a number of performance measures. We're just highlighting 3 here, including decreasing the rate of preventable medical and dental related hospitalizations among primary care clients from 6.2 to 5%. We look at things like that from the indigent healthcare side, and we are happy to report that we've seen a 22% reduction in preventable hospitalization in those clients from 17 to 18. So I was very pleased to see those positive results and that we're doing some great work. By December 21, increase the percentage of those who've completed the first HPV shot from 40 to 50%. HPV vaccines are on the forefront and HPV has been associated with cancers, right? Cervical, rectal, as well as oral cancers. So we need to, it's not just an STD prevention, it's a cancer prevention. And then lastly, to reduce the rate of HIV from 30 to 25. You're probably familiar, I think during the last statement by the Trump to the legislature, he put out a Eliminate HIV Epidemic initiative. He's identified 48 counties throughout the country. All 7 of the largest counties in Florida were named, including Pinellas County. In that document, they put a focus on things like making sure that we have access to pre-exposure prophylaxis, familiar with that, Truvada, making sure that those exhibiting high-risk behaviors to acquire HIV are taking this pre-exposure medication to prevent the acquisition of HIV, as well as ensuring that the testing and the access to the HIV treatment is available to those that are positive.
Did they provide resources along with that?
So yes, they did.
Okay.
I think they're trying to formulate how to spend the dollars down, but they did allocate some dollars to that. And in terms of the impact to the state of Florida and Pinellas County in particular, I don't know the answer to that yet.
Question?
Yes, sir.
We have, obviously when we have the storms coming through, we establish special needs shelters. Try to have 2 or probably 3 in the county. Any thoughts on trying to maybe establish like a permanent location so that they're not transferred too often during, sometimes they have to be transferred around. Schools get set up for special needs, and then we try to get the schools back in place, so we end up having to move folks again. Any thoughts on that as to how it might affect members of the special needs population, as trying to minimize the number of moves, I guess? Is there any thoughts on that, and just general thoughts? I mean, I know that every level, there's so many levels of need. So.
Right. You're probably aware that the health department is responsible for staffing of the special needs shelters located in 3 middle schools here in Pinellas County during activation. So we have been having those discussions as to alternate sites and stuff like that. I think what we're doing for the most part, and again, this is how we needed that discussion with EM further, is just having following what other areas are doing, but it is generally the schools. The problem also is finding that type of building that meets the specifications in terms of having, and I don't know the specifics, having that secure wall and having the electrical capacity, because again, these are the clients that are of greatest need, that are oxygen dependent, that are electrically dependent, so finding those locations can present a challenge as well, but we will continue to have those discussions.
One of those thought processes is having a community center in each of the areas of our county that would maybe serve as that,
okay.
As a special needs shelter. So number one, we're not having to move them twice. Number two, we can get kids back to school, and parents back to work sooner after a storm. So I was just curious on your take on the general health of special needs shelter and the effects of having to move too often.
Well, I agree with you, especially in people that have those health needs. We want to minimize that move. So certainly a continued discussion with EM and
Okay,
as well as our
thank you.
partners I think is needed.
I wanted to ask you for the dental sealants. So I've just counted the number of Title I elementary schools. It
Okay.
looks like there's 42.
Okay. I know it
So
just
are
from year
you
to
covering
year,
every
yes.
Title I elementary
We
school?
should be, and I'll double check the number and double check with my team on that. I know it fluctuates from year to year. I know when I started it was like 39, and so I believe the team has made those adjustments.
Okay. The other question I had was, I learned something new from Commissioner Beyruti when he was here, and that is that you are responsible for inspecting mobile homes. Do you inspect every mobile home every year?
Again, I'd probably have to get my environmental health directors to sort of speak on that further. Statutorily, I think it's mainly the properties of the mobile home, especially the septic tank components of the mobile home parks, and it's more the code enforcement, I believe, in terms of the homes.
We would like some more information on
Okay.
that because I have been in mobile home parks that sanitary sewers were broken, and I mean, it was very unsafe and horrific conditions. So I know Commissioner Justice has also asked for us to hone in on this, and we certainly like to see what kind of partnership is going on so that we ramp this up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe my staff are participating in some discussions with the county on that.
Thank you. Thanks for the excellent job that you do.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Thank
Any
you
other
always for your
questions
support.
Dr. Cho?
Good to see you. Great job.
Okay, very good. All right, next is the Pinellas Planning Council in Forward Pinellas. It's Rodney Chapman and Whit Blanton. Just Rodney.
It's just me. Commissioner Witt had a prior commitment that he could not get out of, so he sends his apologies. And so in his stead, I'm here to talk about our budget for FY20.
Okay, very good. Welcome.
Okay, so for most of you, this is probably old news. I feel like I never left from our long meeting yesterday.
I thought you
Seriously.
So
got to be the chairman.
we are an
It's his
integrated
fault.
land use and transportation planning agency. As most of you are aware, we are a result of the merger back in 2015 of the Planning Council and the MPO. And one of the things that makes our agency unique is the amount of advisory committees that we staff. And they have a lot of different focus areas. And one of the things that the property appraiser brought up to you earlier this morning was a result of an action that our Planners Advisory Committee took a little while ago to look at streamlining the process of parcel splits and parcel mergers so that we don't create non-conforming parcels. So when he asked about that term, that was at the forefront of my mind because that was something that came up through one of our advisory committees. So we have a varied mission. It really focuses on the maintenance of the countywide plan, which includes the rules, the map, and a strategies document. On the MPO side, we do prioritize transportation projects for state and federal funding. We have begun to roll out a series of grant programs that provide local resources to our municipalities for specific purposes. And we also provide technical assistance in various forms to serve as an extension of the local government staff. And lastly, we do engage the public quite often on various activities and initiatives and maintain that strong partnership with various agencies and organizations. Like the county, we have our own business plan, and that really serves as the roadmap for what we do over the next 5 years. The core of that business plan is the theme of adapt, build, and connect, and you see those definitions listed there. So what I'll do over the next few slides is provide a few examples of signature projects that we've worked on in the current fiscal year and how they align to those three themes. As we talked about at the board meeting a lot yesterday, a lot of our focus over the last year has been in the long-range plan. It's the first long-range plan that's being developed as a fully integrated land use and transportation agency. And the primary focus is to plan for a transportation network that can accommodate essentially a new city of Largo. So about 90,000 new residents and 58,000 new jobs. One of the things that we didn't talk about yesterday was two parallel efforts that are being developed along with Advantage Pinellas, and that is a new bicycle pedestrian master plan for Pinellas County, as well as a community bus plan that's being led by PSTA. So those two documents will then feed into the long-range plan, and we'll be sharing more about those plans with our board in the coming months. As the property appraiser showed you previously, I think a lot of us are moving into more analytics using GIS and three-dimensional imaging. And so we've executed a couple of projects using the resources from Aegis as well as some in-house staff capabilities we have. What you see here is an example of an activity center analysis that we did for downtown Dunedin. And so we developed things like a community profile, way to visualize building permit activity over about 10 years, as well as looking at the redevelopment potential of key properties within their downtown. We have recently completed a similar indicator tool for the city of South Pasadena, and we looked at their entire city, and we'll be meeting with them in a couple weeks to showcase this tool. And then moving forward, we'll be doing similar analyses around the county.
So would this be able to identify like vacant land?
Yes.
So 3-5 acres and higher, so that we're looking for industrial partner growth?
Exactly, Commissioner. The methodology we used for the redevelopment potential analytic was really based on building to land value, vacancy, and other factors. So it's kind of rolled into a package, and it produces the results you see there.
Yeah, that'd be good information for our economic development group.
Yes.
Can I ask a question to follow up?
Mm-hmm.
So that's built on our Esri platform?
Yes.
Is ADAPT the name of the,
No, that's the theme under our business plan that
Okay.
this falls underneath.
is that in the base Esri product, or is there a layer on top of it?
No, this is something that we developed in-house.
Through
Through
BTS or?
Yeah, through Aegis. So it is the base, but then our analytics and methodology were put on top of that
Okay.
to draw that information out and draw those conclusions.
Great, thank you.
So you'll be seeing more of this type of work from us in the future as we move forward with other products that are coming online. I'll speak about that in a little bit. In terms of the build part of our business plan, we really have enjoyed working with the arts and culture community. It's been a partnership with Creative Pinellas that we've had for about a year now to find ways to strengthen arts and culture and its presence along the northern part of alternate US 19. From Largo to Tarpon Springs, it's a parallel effort to the corridor studies that the Department of Transportation is wrapping up. And we've spoken to about 175 people or so and got their ideas. We've come up with about 17 issues and opportunities for consideration as we move forward. And we have also developed 6 guiding principles. So we're pretty excited about the partnership and are looking forward to moving into phase 2 for the cultural corridor along alternate 19. For the second year, we have also had the ability to make some of our operational dollars available as a technical assistance grant to our local government partners. We call it the Planning and Placemaking Grant Program. And essentially what it's designed to do is to find ways for local governments to implement the planning and urban design principles of the countywide plan. It's really where the rubber meets the road in making redevelopment happen in Pinellas County. So we're proud to see that for this funding cycle, our board granted funding to the city of Largo for a special area plan for the US 19 Roosevelt Boulevard area, as well as to the city of Oldsmar for a business incubator feasibility study, and to the city of Tarpon Springs for a highest and best use analysis for a distressed property. All 3 of these projects were of high need to those communities and were all located in their designated activity centers. They're sort of, well, the Largo Special Area Plan is a traditional approach to redevelopment, but the Oldsmar and Tarpon Springs project were kind of atypical because they already have established special area plans and they're still not seeing the kind of redevelopment they would like. So they're looking at doing things differently to produce that desired outcome. And so these next couple projects are ones that are that we're proud of because they're really in our wheelhouse. They're multi-jurisdictional, multi-focused, and we were successful in getting our partners to bring money to the table, which hasn't really happened in the past. So the first project is the Gateway Mid-County Master Plan. We're moving into the second year of this master planning effort, and it's really looking at that gateway area of Pinellas County, working with Pinellas County, City of Largo, City of St. Petersburg, Pinellas Park, and DOT to align the transportation and land use policies to help unleash the potential of the gateway. Currently, we're in the fifth phase of that six-phase process, and we should be receiving the draft final report in the coming months, and our board members will be getting an in-depth presentation on the components of the master plan coming up soon. Secondly, under Connect is the Central Avenue Bus Rapid Transit-Oriented Development Strategic Plan. What this is, it's really the land use component to the Central Avenue BRT. Most of you know about the project that will link downtown St. Petersburg with St. Pete Beach and have premium transit, hopefully funded really soon. A key component to the success of that route is going to be ensuring that the land use policies are aligned to encourage and incentivize transit-oriented development. So PST and ourselves partnered on an FTA grant, and we were successful in getting about $1.5 million to study the land use policies along that corridor. So we will be convening a group that includes all those folks that you see there to look at how to best develop this strategic plan focused on the land use along the BRT corridor.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Commissioner Justice.
Thank you. Would you see, I mean, most of that area is pretty established. So would you see any dramatic changes in land use? Or would it be intensity, or what would be the?
Commissioner, I think there'll be perhaps nodes or focal points because there are areas of, I would say, maybe of transition as you move outside of the downtown and get more out towards 66th Street. And so it's maybe not going to be along the entire corridor, but specific concentrated areas is probably what we're going to be looking at in terms of that transformative land use.
Okay.
Let me just build on that for a second because your question did trigger a conversation we had at our last meeting. We will be sensitive to gentrification because that is something that we've heard from the City of St. Pete staff, where there are existing tenants in some commercial and residential properties along the Central Avenue corridor, and they are concerned about being pushed out as this premium transit comes to fruition, and then things start to happen. So there will be a gentrification component to what we look at.
Can I just weigh in on that? I'm so glad you said that because that is something I hear almost every day, not every week.
Right.
As we redevelop and as all the new housing comes in, folks are worried about the balance, and I think that's what drove a lot of fast comments about folks just not being able to live here.
Right.
One example is my mom is still in the house that I grew up in, South St. Pete, north of Lake McGorry. Just north of her, about a block north on Tree Lane Drive, someone came and bought a house. Now that house is on the market for $500,000. And you're hearing that kind of story all around this core that we're talking about.
Right.
So I'm glad you have an eye on that. There's got to be a balance going forward as we redevelop.
Yeah, and what I like about the composition of this team is it does include housing advocates and others, so it's really multidisciplinary. So it's bringing a lot of perspectives to the table, and so we're very conscious of that issue, and we'll be considering that as we move forward.
Okay. Thank you.
So for fiscal year 20, our suite of projects and priorities does stay the same in terms of administering the countywide plan, working on spotlight areas, continuing to have that planning and placemaking grant opportunity available to our local government partners. Didn't talk about our Knowledge Exchange Series program, but that's one that we've got a lot of positive attention on because it really serves as a extension of the existing staff, whereby we do a deep dive on current planning issues. So we've done studies on craft beer as a downtown redevelopment catalyst, missing middle housing typologies, urban agriculture, and we also convened a group to look at the self-storage issue as we had seen more development applications come in, so we wanted to better understand what was driving that change. I just wanted to draw your attention to the items listed under number 6. Again, we feel like our best value to our local government partners is serving as an extension of their planning staff. So we get tasked from time to time to work on special projects or activities. And so for this coming fiscal year, we'll be working with the City of Indian Rocks Beach on a growth and redevelopment visioning study. We'll be conducting, well, the plan is to conduct a walking audit with the City of Largo along Clearwater Largo Road. We have been working with the City of St. Petersburg on looking at the coastal high hazard area issue and developing a mitigation framework there. We were successful in getting a grant, a technical assistance grant with the Urban Land Institute, so we'll be working with those folks to advance that project. Dr. Cho talked about health and all policies, and although we're not a funding partner, we have dedicated one of our staff members to participate in that effort, and we will be having a health section in our long-range plan for the first time. So we'll, again, as he talked about before, that nexus between health outcomes and transportation is key. And lastly, the ArcGIS urban issue or item that you see there is something that we've been talking to Pinellas County about for the last couple of months. It's sort of what the property appraiser showed, but it has more planning and development capabilities to it. So we will be working with that platform on the City of Indian Rocks Beach project, sort of as a public interface or engagement tool to look at different scenarios for development, and we'll be doing that in a 3-dimensional format. So lastly, just a refresher on how we're funded. The Planning Council side of the house is funded by those property tax revenues. We do receive reimbursement from the MPO because we do provide the float for their personnel service charges. And then the MPO on the right-hand side is funded by those suite of state and federal grants. And then lastly, we feel like we're a very efficient and lean appointing authority. You see in blue is what our millage is, and what is in green is the remainder. So we've been operating under 10% of our millage cap since, at least even, well, from this graph, since 2008, 2009. And if you go back even further, the millage rate was much higher. So just wanted to thank the commission for all that you've done to support what we do, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Anybody have any questions? Chairman?
No questions. I think they're doing a great job. I think they are lean, and I know that that's one of the thoughts going forward, but they do great work and work closely with our partners and keep expanding that. I think is really going to be good. Lots of exciting things coming up in the coming year, so looking forward to it.
Thank you, Rodney, and thanks to all of your staff as well.
Great job,
We
sir.
appreciate you. Okay, next is Office of Human Rights, Paul Valenti. Welcome, it's nice to see you.
Likewise, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Administrator Burton. For the record, my name is Paul Valenti. I have the privilege of serving as your Human Rights Director for Pinellas County. We appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk about our proposed budget for the next fiscal year. By way of a few preliminary matters, I have with me my colleague Jeffrey Lorick. Mr. Lorick was recently promoted to our compliance manager, and when we discuss some of the things that our office is working on, that'll take on importance because his ascension to that role frees me up to do some things to complete some projects tasked to us. So I appreciate the help he's provided us. I don't have any 3D imaging. I apologize in advance. Just don't have it. But the other thing I'd like to note before I actually get into the budget discussion is every year when I come and present, and you hear some of the other departments in front of you, it's amazing the interlap or overlay of a lot of the work we do. Our colleague was just speaking about gentrification issues. We recently had a Fair Housing Event Month. We did it this year over in the Tampa Bay area, where Jeffrey moderated a panel on strengthening our communities through diversity with an aspect of having all voices having a seat at the table as decisions about their community are being made. So there really is an overlay, and I'm probably asking for an invitation to some of those table and discussions with our office, but it's just an example of the interrelationship that when I say I have a privilege of serving as your Human Rights Director, it's because I just have the greatest colleagues in the world doing good public service. And so I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say that. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm here to discuss my budget. So as you all know, but for the benefit perhaps of the public, go forward. Our office has 3 core programs, right? We do the investigation of external complaints of discrimination in the realms of employment, housing, and places of public accommodation. Fiscal year to date, we have 92 employment cases that we've investigated and closed, 37 housing cases that we've investigated and closed. We do civil rights compliance or assist the county and its appointing authorities with its obligations to comply with federal and state civil rights statutes. We conduct EEO investigations within the unified personnel system when there are internal complaints of discrimination, harassment. We assist with ADA compliance obligations. One of the things that I will be freed up to hopefully complete in the not too distant future with Mr. Lorik's ascension to the compliance manager role is completing the transition plan, ADA update transition plan. And we also do various reporting to the federal government of our workforce, the EEO4, our affirmative action plan to the Department of Justice to continue to receive federal funds. And then lastly, and this started with January 1st of 2016, we now administer the wage theft program. And on the slide that you see, it reads that there's over $300,000 in money recovered and put into the pockets of working people since the ordinance became effective in January 1st. That number actually, as of today, is $370,000 plus. So it's quite, your policy initiative in this regard has had a real and meaningful impact to the community, and especially for working people who perform work and were cheated out of the wages they earned. So that's our 3 core programs. By way of our proposed budget for the, don't want to do that, and you'll see my notes on there. Over the last 3 years, we've been sound stewards of the public purse. You'll see in comparison our FY20 proposed budget as compared to the fiscal year 18 and fiscal 19 is a slight increase. We're at $1,237,420. That is the OMB target that has been established for our office. You'll see that that breaks down into a little over $1 million in personnel services and $175,020 in operating expenses. That's a little higher than the target and in prior years. Let me explain. We had, it was actually lower, but then we were proposing perhaps a decision package relating to ADA certification. And it was decided that we'd seek the capacity to remain under the OMB target, to do that certification through the operating expense and not put a decision package before you. It's also to compensate. We've been blessed to have a hearing magistrate, special magistrate for our hearings on wage theft cases who volunteers. We're blessed to have him, but he may decide at some point he doesn't want to do it on a volunteer basis anymore. And we, for reasons of conflict, availability, et cetera, need to develop a bench of magistrates to hear these cases. And so there's some money in that operating expense to pay basically a daily stipend for the magistrates to conduct these hearings. And then the rest of that really is to have capacity, so we might not spend it, but to have the capacity to continue to litigate those fair housing cases in which we found cause, and now we're in a legal posture. So that gives us the ability to do it, and if we don't have to, of course, those funds won't be expended. We remain at a staff of 10. We've not asked for any additional headcount since my tenure here. And that's despite the successes we've had with the wage theft program and the increased closures that we've seen in our employment and housing cases this fiscal year. Just by way of other considerations, as you assess the reasonableness of our request, every year, well, for the last 3 years, but really since my tenure here, you see it's for the last 3 fiscal years in this slide, but during my tenure, if we don't have a need to expend funds that you've been kind enough to allocate to us, we won't. It's that simple. It's not our money. We return it back. So for the last 3 fiscal years, we've consistently been below what's been allocated to us. And if we have the ability to do that with what we're proposing now, we'll continue to do so. The point is we really try to be sound stewards of the public purse. We also would point out that we continue to lead on projects that historically might be a misnomer, but in many other jurisdictions are performed by outside consultants. I already mentioned finalization of the ADA transition plan update, and in some jurisdictions, that could be $1 million initiative. All other ADA compliance obligations relate to website compliance and other initiatives. We've recently completed a Title VI compliance obligation where we finalized the limited English proficiency plan and have given capacity to all appointing authorities for a language line translation service so that if they are presented with a customer or a member of the public who doesn't speak English as their first language, there's a language translation service that they can avail of in over 120 different languages. And that's something that our office put together. And we've also structured it such that we can get meaningful business intelligence as to where the request is being made, from what appointing authority and what languages. It'll help us tune our limited English proficiency plan, which always needs monitoring. But it'll also allow the appointing authorities the business intelligence to say, maybe I need to staff for this language in this location, given the number of requests being made. So we hope it'll be of benefit to the county. We trust it will. And then finally, we continue to engage in aggressive community outreach. Once again this year, our office will be at the St. Pete Pride Festival on June 23rd. We'll be at the St. Petersburg International Folk Festival in the fall. I don't have a specific date yet. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we've already conducted our Fair Housing Month Symposium. And that's just a representative example of the multitude of community engagement efforts that we do. The last piece is that additional in the operating costs, expenses rather, that I discussed earlier. We were going to put this by way of a decision package, but within our operating line expenses line items, we'll be seeking for myself and Compliance Manager Lorick ADA certification from a nationally accredited organization. I think that'll give us, if I can use the word, cachet or credibility when we interact with the federal government as they review any compliance concerns. I believe that'll be of help. It'll help me to complete that ADA transition plan update. It allows us to avail of a network of countrywide experts on ADA compliance issues. And so in total, commissioners, we're presenting a budget that's in line with the target set by OMB, keeps our head count the same as it's been since I've been the director. And if you account for actually the triennial computer replacement program, we're actually still 13,000 below OMB's budget. So with that, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Question, yeah. There's we talk in a lot of our departments and really across a lot of industries, a lot of folks aging out, so to speak, in retirements, unemployments are at record lows. And I see an increasing increasing number of folks that are in that 60s and up category that may end up wanting to get back to work, may want to provide work. We may need those bodies to provide services, et cetera. Do you see any issues in your office with age discrimination towards seniors? Do you see an uptick in that? And what are we doing to kind of help what might typically be a kind of a quiet group that may not be that vocal to protect themselves, that maybe they don't even think they have the rights that they once did? Do you see an uptick there, and do we have any kind of program to kind of get out and let people know that if you want to work and if you're able to and you can match skill sets with what's out there, you have a right to work too?
Those are great questions. So let's start with the uptick. Not per se, Commissioner Eggers. We haven't seen an uptick in the number of complaints based on age. But when we do see them, and this might not be a surprise, and it's no disservice to my colleagues in county government because I know they're not doing it, but you see it in the technology realm, right? Now, when I spoke earlier about education and outreach efforts, for those persons who might be seeking to re-enter the workforce, when the Tampa Bay Times has their employment job fairs, our office always has a presence, and we, at every fair, we're approached by at least one person discussing a concern about age discrimination. We give them information about how to file a complaint with our office. we go there with intake forms in hand, fill this out, let's get this going. But we don't, unfortunately, convert a lot of those. We've converted a few, but not as many as approach us and discuss their concerns. Many are concerned about retaliation. And of course, you all know that's illegal too, but it's a real world concern, and we get that what the law might provide and what your experience in the world might be may differ on occasion. But we engage in those outreach activities that I discussed earlier to ensure that the public, including that segment of our community, knows of their rights to be free from discrimination. I hope that answers the question.
It does.
The other thing we do, if I may, is, and I might have touched on this earlier, one of the things that our office is rolling out, we do it for all our appointing authorities, we do it for the community at large. Compliance Manager Lorick has an implicit bias training that we conduct. And one of the concerns when it comes to people of more tenured workers in our community is that people might implicitly view them as not technically proficient or otherwise limited maybe in physical capacity or skill. And an implicit bias training can help folks understand that that's maybe a artificial lens through which you're viewing that applicant. So that's another way we try to combat that evil.
And what do you do with that? Do you take it to companies? Do you let
anyone who wants to hear it? We take it to community groups. We present it HR groups. Compliance Manager Lorick has been asked by Hillsborough to go over and give it training for Hillsborough County. We know it's across the border, but in collegiality, we're going to do it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we really try to aggressively reach out to community with those kinds of efforts, sir.
Okay, well, appreciate that. Thank you for the comments.
Madam Chair?
Any further questions? Commissioner Welch?
Yeah, just a comment. I wanted to thank Paul for your great work. Congratulations, Mr. Lorick, on your promotion. Y'all just do an outstanding job. And I appreciate that you're keeping your FTEs flat, but you have absorbed wage theft countywide now, including St. Pete. So I'm just asking, how'd you do that?
Because as many of my appointing authority colleagues would concur, I have some of the best staff in the country, as they have some of the best. I feel that I'm blessed to be here. This is a great county, and there are dedicated public services throughout the appointing authorities. I'm privileged and blessed to be part of that. My staff does good work, sir.
So you feel comfortable that you're staffed appropriately now that you've taken that on countywide?
For the present, yes, sir.
And are the ordinances fully aligned now? We were talking about the difference between their ordinance and ours, so how does that work?
Yes, sir. So as you recall, when we last came before you in January, there were still some outstanding concerns that you wanted us to come back to you again. They were in the realms of aligning our ordinance with St. Pete so that they can repeal theirs and there'd just be one uniform countywide program. And then enhanced penalties or other provisions to address multiple offenders. I've recently tweaked some language to address both those concerns, and it's now pending with my colleague at the county attorney's office. We will come back to you with that, though.
Okay.
Just with it. Now, to your question about adequate resources, we would have come back sooner, but I've got a lot on my plate.
Understood. Well, $370,000, that speaks to what that program was always supposed to be about. So thanks for your great work on that.
Thank you.
All right.
We are very impressed,
Oh, thank
as
you.
always.
That's kind of you.
Thank you very much, Paul, to you and your staff,
Thank
and
you.
we appreciate all that you do.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Great, okay, next we have Human Resources. Holly?
Good morning.
Morning.
So I'm pleased to be here this morning to give you what is usually just an annual opportunity that I have to let you know all the things that are happening in human resources and what we have planned. Because I didn't think you wanted me to get into a lot of detail for my presentation, I did bring you complimentary copies of our 2018 annual report.
Complimentary. Thank you.
And I'm sure immediately following this meeting, you'll be rushing back to your offices to peruse all the pages in detail with that. But for today, for today's presentation, just wanted to give you some of the highlights of what has been accomplished over the last year and what we're currently working on this year. But first of all, getting to the budget numbers. This is a budget presentation. So our budget request is about $4.5 million. And the 52,000 below the OMB target will be consumed somewhat with some services that we receive from RISC and from BTS. But it will definitely be below the budget target that was set for us. And that pays for 35.5 full-time equivalent positions in the department. Most of that budget is expended towards salaries, with about 9% towards operating expenses. So Human Resources serves the Unified Personnel System, and I know many of you are familiar with the Unified Personnel System that was brought into existence in 1975 through a special act of the Florida legislature. We have a unique governance structure as far as human resources departments go for county governments in Florida. I believe it's an effective structure where the Human Resources Department reports to the Unified Personnel Board, and we serve a total of 10 independent appointing authorities, with Human Resources being one. Of course, the county administrator is one, the county attorney, and several constitutional officers and other service organizations. In 2017, we adopted our vision, our mission, and our values with our vision to position the UPS and Pinellas County government in particular as being perceived as a top choice employer, especially considering how tight the labor market is with low unemployment rates. We work hard to promote the attractiveness of Pinellas County as an employer. Our mission is to cultivate a diverse, talented, and engaged workforce that's prepared to effectively serve the citizens of this county. And you'll see our values are about earning a reputation as a trusted solution partner, and that's something that we speak about among our team quite a bit. Our 4 strategic focus areas are outlined in our 2018 to 2023 year strategic plan and are very much linked to our mission. If you go back to our mission statement, you'll see references to a diverse workforce, talented workforce, engaged workforce, and one that's prepared to effectively serve. And so in order to make sure we are fulfilling our mission, our strategic plan is very much aligned with that. And so our action plans each year that we develop is in line with how the specific things we're going to do to move those initiatives and those strategic areas forward. Just some highlights on each of those 4 areas. The first one around a diverse and inclusive workforce. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so I'm trying to see my slides here. So we focus on education and development of both supervisors and frontline staff. I know Paul Valenti mentioned work that the Office of Human Rights does on implicit bias, and we do partner with them to provide those development opportunities as well as others, just to make our workforce more aware of the environments that we are providing to individuals that may bring a level of diversity across a variety of areas. But we want to make sure that all the folks that come in to Pinellas County as an employee, that they feel welcome and that they feel free to express their unique ideas and perspectives. We're pursuing a diversity and inclusion steering committee. We rely on our biannual employee voice survey for some benchmarking to gauge how well we're doing and how employees feel about their work environments and whether they feel that it is inclusive. Our social media presence has been enhanced as far as reaching out to individuals in diverse populations to discover more about how attractive we are as an employer. And we've also, in the last about year and a half, started a Workforce Connections Committee, which is comprised of representatives from all 10 appointing authorities to make sure that we are providing a unified presence as we do community outreach and are engaging with our community to make sure that that we're presenting one brand, one image, because our citizens don't see, oh, BTS is a separate employer or Human Resources a separate employer, but they really see us as Pinellas County. And so that's something that has been very well received over the last year or two. And you might recognize the handsome gentleman at the bottom of the slide there, one of our wonderful employees. Some of the things that we focus on for pursuing our focus area of a talented workforce. A year or so ago, we unveiled a new curriculum of learning opportunities called the Learning Paths. And there are primarily 4 different levels depending on where individuals are in their development journey, from being aspiring leaders all the way to very seasoned, experienced leaders. And so there are particular programs and curriculum that individuals can attend and subscribe to, and we provide some micro-certifications once individuals accomplish and complete the programs in that particular curriculum. That's important to our efforts aligned with succession planning as we work with different appointing authorities, and one way that employees can demonstrate their development and readiness to take on higher levels of responsibilities for different positions. Also, our tuition reimbursement program is popular, and not as popular as we would like. We always are trying to market it and encourage employees to take advantage of that great perk and benefit that the county provides. We are encouraged to see continued growth year after year in the funds that are expended towards that program, because we think that's a really important development opportunity and benefit for employees also.
You have a sense of any benchmarking on that, how we compare other counties? Any sense of?
As far as participation?
Yeah, participation rate.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't see a lot of that as far as comparative data for other organizations. I do know that the amount that we provide annually to employees is very competitive and comparable to what we see for other employers that do provide that benefit. So it's, I think, $2,500 annually.
But you feel like we're pretty encouraging of that throughout our
absolutely.
organization?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great, thank you.
So for our engaged workforce, so we pursue a number of different ways to connect with those that we serve. Certainly the Employees Advisory Council is an important constituent group, and so we are always in attendance at their meetings and looking for ways to partner with them on the issues that are important to our classified employees. The PEN, which is our employee newsletter, always gets a large number of hits every month, and we continue to get very positive feedback about that publication. We also have employees who serve as our partners and an extended outreach for us, including our internship coordinators. We have wellness site coordinators in all the different appointing authorities, also our wellness champions. We have HR business partners, which are professional HR generalists in our office who have developed formal partnerships with some of the departments across the county and are integrated into those departments' normal meetings, strategic planning, so that we can be more proactive in the services that we provide. And we've received very positive feedback from our partners on the effectiveness and the importance that they've come to develop with the business partners that serve them. And then the fourth area of a workforce that's prepared to effectively serve our citizens. Again, more development opportunities. We find it very important to have effective supervisors in place across the county. All employee engagement research consistently states that an employee's relationship with their direct supervisor is the number one reason that they'll stay or leave. And so we are very focused on making sure that we're providing high-quality development opportunities for all people who serve in a supervisory capacity across the county. We also offer a large number of offerings through our online learning opportunities. Our wellness program team and our benefits team does a marvelous job at providing opportunities for employees to learn more about how they can be well in a variety of different areas, not only physical, but emotionally, socially, financially. It all comes together and impacts the employee's ability to come to work prepared to serve. And then our communication efforts as well. We recently completed an employee communication survey, which was very helpful for us to understand how we can make sure that we are providing information to employees in a way that is best received by them, because not everybody relies on email for their communications. Most of them do still, but not all, and so we want to make sure that we're reaching those folks.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you. Before we shift to the next topic, on the last slide, you talked about volunteers. In years past, we've had a annual volunteer appreciation event of some sort, and I didn't know if we still did that or how we thank our volunteers for the great work they do.
We do that. We do appreciation events still. What we did was instead of doing one large annual event for all volunteers, we received feedback that, first of all, not all volunteers were able to attend that one event. And it was so large that it really didn't feel, have the level of intimacy and engagement that our volunteers were looking for. So we instead do a number of events at the location. So, for example, say Animal Services. We do an event for the volunteers at Animal Services with that group. And that, they've told us that is more meaningful for them to be part of the people that they work with. So we still do those appreciation events, just in a different way.
I missed the big one, because it's
Well, it
an
was-
opportunity for us to say thank you as well.
Right, so certainly for 2018 and into 2019, our largest undertaking has been the classification and compensation study. This was the first comprehensive study that the county took on in about 13 years. So it got started in mid-2017, and we're still going through different phases of it, and I'll get into some of those highlights in a moment. Now, when I say it was the first study that we did in 2013, that doesn't mean that over those 13 years we didn't do any kind of benchmarking or looking at positions. We have a team of great class and comp experts in the Human Resources Department that every year they are reviewing and analyzing jobs across the county. So one of the things that we were actually encouraged to see through the consultant's report was that for the most part, our jobs that they analyzed were already well-positioned. They were classified appropriately, compensated very competitively, so that indicated that we were keeping up pretty well with the work to be done there. There were three primary components for the study. So Evergreen Solutions was the vendor that worked with us on this project. First part was the classification study. So Evergreen analyzed about 3,000 unique positions across the county, both classified and exempt positions. After they did the classification study and understood what the jobs are that are being performed, then they did the market analysis to look at our compensation levels compared to both public sector peers and private sector folks, organizations that we compete with for talent, both regionally and the state of Florida as a whole. And then they looked at our compensation policies and gave us some feedback on areas of strength that they noticed, and then also some areas where they thought we should take a closer look at and look at possibly developing further. And so as far as our classified service, the Unified Personnel Board adopted a new classification plan and classified pay plans back in September of 2018. So phase one of the project really focused around classified service. And so some of the highlights from phase one was that there were around 1,000 employees that received pay adjustments as a result of that process. And our focus for the pay adjustments was to identify those positions that were identified as being behind the market. So our number one priority with those dollars that you all budgeted for that project was to put those dollars towards positions that were lagging behind. Because our highest priority was to make sure that all positions within the Unified Personnel system are compensated at a competitive level as compared to the labor market. And I feel very good that that money was well spent. I think it was directed exactly at the positions that it should have been directed to. And then as far as the adoption of the new pay plan, you'll see there that 82% of positions moved to a pay grade that had a higher midpoint than the pay grade that they had previously. And that's important given the general increase, where that general increase is based on a percentage of the midpoint of that pay grade. So that meant that when the general increase happened, those employees received the benefit of a higher increase because the midpoint was higher than what they had previously. And then we provided an opportunity after the new classification structure and the pay plan was adopted, provided all classified employees with the opportunity to ask the consultant to do a second review, a second analysis of their position if they felt that the first analysis was not sufficient, or maybe not all of the information was provided or considered. And so we did have over 500 employees ask for that secondary review. That process took quite a bit longer than any of us, I think, anticipated. But we wanted to make sure that it was a thorough process, that the consultant took the time to make sure they had the full information, and that there was some interaction between the management and the consultant to make sure that those outcomes went through the best process possible. Now, there are still some further appeals following that process. So for employees who had a downward classification, and that's defined as moving to a pay grade that had a lower maximum. So it's not about your job title, or it's not even about your pay, rate of pay changing. It's about moving to a pay grade where the maximum was lower. And so for employees in that situation, that completed a secondary review. That was the first step. There were 62 employees that were eligible to ask for further appeal. With Human Resources, 36 employees did. We've recently completed those 36 reviews. And then for those employees that still are not satisfied with the outcome, they will be able to further appeal to the Personnel Board. And so that process is currently underway. Given some of the feedback that we were hearing from employees about the process, we did offer a number of listening sessions where I went around to different work locations across the county to make sure we were hearing from employees as far as how they perceive the process and suggestions to improve the process moving forward. So those were really helpful sessions to get some very good ideas from our employees. And we are undertaking phase 2 of the process, which will primarily focus then on going through a similar review and analysis for our exempt positions across the unified personnel system. So many of us in HR are all pretty tired out at this point, but it's all good stuff. So to close out, I want to share with you some of the things that we're pursuing this year in 2019. So some of the feedback that we've received over the last several months, we consistently hear from folks how delighted they are with the level of service they get from Human Resources, but we also hear that there are some gaps and there are some areas where we can improve and enhance, and we're very focused on doing that. And in fact, we're going to be looking further into the Florida Sterling criteria. Of course, the tax collector's office is very much connected with that, and so we are going to take their lead and look at how we might apply those criteria for the Human Resources Department. We also are focused on an employee benefits education campaign. One of the things that we think is most needed is, and what we hear back from our employees, is just still some confusion, lack of awareness, or confusion about the different benefits programs that we offer and how they work and how we can enhance those. So we are taking that on this year. Analytics and key performance indicators. We're doing some really good work with that. We are in the process of hiring someone for our HRIS team that can bring more skill to that area to strengthen our ability to provide that. We've recently been working very closely with the Office of Human Rights to be able to provide them with some important analytics that they needed for some of their reporting. So that's been a very exciting development. Again, as I mentioned, phase 2 of the classification and compensation study is a high priority for us. Our biannual employee voice survey this summer, probably around August, will be the time when we ask employees to again participate in that survey. The total compensation statements, which I know many of you have come to appreciate, we think that's a really important tool for our employees to realize the value of their total compensation, not only what they see in their paycheck, but the value of what the county contributes towards their health insurance and their retirement and tuition reimbursement and paid leave that's offered, just to name a few of those benefits and perks that are offered to employees. So we'll continue to do that. Our team in planning and performance and our HR business partners is focused on enhancing the organizational effectiveness strategies that are of interest to the departments and the partners that they serve. Also, as we look at the possibility of offering a merit increase program to employees, a key foundation for that is effective documentation of performance. And so we're going to make a more than normal focused effort on making sure that everyone in a supervisory role has a good foundation and development opportunities to be more comfortable in the process of providing performance feedback to employees. Associated with that, we're looking at, we're partnering with Business Technology Services on some further enhancements to the Taleo platform, which is the Oracle-based platform that we use for both our recruiting and also our FACE or performance management tool. And so there will be some important enhancements that we're looking at for that to make sure that managers have the tools they need.
Okay.
And with that, those are my
Commissioner Akers.
highlights. and
Yeah,
I'd be
just
happy to-
a quick question. I think, in theory, merit pay makes a lot of sense to me. But in practice, do you have any kind of information out there that might share a little bit of what good intentions with merit pay, how they develop over time? I mean, I'm thinking out loud that, we're, again, with the rubber in the road thing, is you really have to make
Yeah.
those annual
Yeah.
evaluations. And if you're told in your department you've got 10 people and it must be a bell-shaped curve of, that kind of thing. Is there stuff out there that kind of shows, merit pays are good ideas and they work and when they're implemented, or do they start to break down? How does that work? And I know you mentioned that just briefly now about how to train supervisors to do those kinds of reviews.
Boy, we could do a week-long symposium on
Okay.
sharing
Well,
my thoughts
I don't know
about.
that we have a
about
week, but
That's a really big, very important and really big question. And I will be meeting with appointing authorities next
Okay.
week, so we can talk about some of those issues that are really important to wrap our heads around before we get into developing any details around that program. The most important part of that is to know why you're doing it. And there are a number of reasons to do it, and there are a number of reasons not to do it. Of course, though, as you mentioned, in theory, the idea of merit pay could be to make sure that we are showing appreciation to employees who are constantly bringing their best and performing at a high level. It could be to give the opportunity for a higher level of pay increase than what employees have merely with a general increase. From my experience and research on employee engagement, there are much more meaningful and effective return on investment that are not linked to pay increases. If you're really trying to get your top performers to stay with your organization, merit increases, in my experience and
Okay, and that'll be
professional perspective is not the way to do it. That's not to say that there aren't good reasons to do it.
And we'll be exploring those as well. as you-
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Barry?
I was just going to follow up, Commissioner. That is one of the things the appointed authorities are going to be looking at. Holly and I have had this very discussion in great detail, and we could go till dinner on this one,
For sure.
because it's all it's all setting expectations, and whether people perceive the compensation system as fair and the evaluation. So there's a lot of issues to this. Our employees have asked for a merit-based pay system. That's something we're looking at, but we have to approach it, with well thought out manner. So that's something
Okay.
we are in process of working on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll-
Commissioner Welch?
real quick, I know we're facing lunch here. Holly, thank you for the presentation. And for folks watching, they might not understand that the commission only really has 3 employees, the county administrator, the attorney, and then our own legislative administrative aide, and then Dustin, who reports to the chair. So we don't normally get into personnel issues beyond that. But I'm glad you addressed the classification and comp study, because that's one where, I've been pulled aside 3 or 4 times just out in the community. by employees who were concerned about the process. So I'm glad you went through this. You know, if my math is right based on this, you had like 22% of the employees ask for that review. How many do you expect to ultimately go to the personnel board, or do you expect any of those to appeal the personnel board?
Well, so the timeline has not yet ended for employees who are eligible to ask for that review. We have had, to date, 2 employees have asked to go through that appeal process. I think for a handful of employees that the deadline has passed for them to appeal. So it's hard to say, but I would say probably no more than 30 probably would be the maximum number that possibly could. But we'll know more in the next couple of weeks as the deadline passes for employees to do that.
And you addressed some of the concerns a little bit about what I heard was, of course, the salary range being different, but it was more an issue of loss of identity almost to some of the folks I talked to. So really to Barry, do you feel that y'all are in a good spot now moving forward in terms of this entire compensation study issue?
Well, there's several component pieces to that. Some of the issue with loss of identity has to do with working titles, and I think we can do a better job with that. And part of that is communication at the first line level and our first line managers, and whether we're hearing employees, because I heard that very directly from some of our employees. So that's something we need to work on and continue to work through some of those issues. I think that we're in a good spot in terms of we've addressed this. There's a component piece in the timing. How long it took for this. We're looking if there's anything we can do for those employees where there was a gap in the time where their review and then they actually got the salary increase. We are looking at that. So, you know, yes, we've completed that round. Now we're ready to move to the exempt, and we didn't want to move to the exempt till we kind of got the first piece right. It certainly has taken longer, and part of that had to do, in my opinion, with when they were filling out the forms, we needed people on site to get the firsthand knowledge of those positions and help filling out that type of detail. That there was a real gap there that caused the delay, so it has taken some time, but I think we're in a pretty good spot now.
Okay. Well, thank you again for detailing this because that was an issue. I appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much, Holly.
Thanks, all.
I know we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more presentations, but I thought we might take a break till 12:30. Is that all right, or do you want a half hour? Half hour?
Sure.
Okay, then we'll be back here by 20 till 1.